People come to the cinema hall to see a good story. I do believe that we have Shahrukh with us in the promotions, which sort of makes it a slightly larger than life film from what it is.
Definitely.
That's one advantage. आपको जब शोहरत मिलती है ना तो समझ आप बहुत जल्दी एक बड़े हाई ऑल्टीट्यूड पे पहुंच जाते हैं जहां पर रेयरिफाइड हवा की वजह से सर चढ़ जाता है लोगों का. Hey, this could be Shahrukh's youth as well. This could be nostalgia for people who are in their 40s or in their 30s. Bachchan Sahab's voice is absolutely brilliant. ये लखनऊ के जिसे शहर आरजू कहिए, ये लखनऊ के जिसे शहर आबरू कहिए, यही तो शहर है बाकों का और जियालों का, यही तो शहर है काफिर अदा गजालों का. ये लखनऊ जो मेरे ख्वाबों की हकीकत है, ये लखनऊ जो यकीनन ज़मीन पे जन्नत है. हाय, मेरा नाम है रोशन अब्बास और आप मुझे देख रहे हैं बॉलीवुड हंगामा पे. कीप वॉचिंग.
We have this today, well-known theatre, radio and television personality, Roshan Abbas, who's having his debut as a director with Always Kabhi Kabhi. Wonderful to have you on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making the time.
Always Kabhi Kabhi, your directorial venture based on your play Graffiti that I think you had written almost 13-14 years back. Promos and all looking interesting, backed by Shahrukh Khan as a producer as well. What is different about Always Kabhi Kabhi?
See, there are two things about Always Kabhi Kabhi that always I think appeal to people. One is that 17, the age, is an age when your heart really starts to me. मैं कहता हूँ कि दिल की धड़कनें और तेज हो जाती हैं. क्योंकि दिल दो चीजें मांगने लगता है. The heart starts asking for two things. What it desires and who it desires. Before 17, you do what your parents tell you. You sort of follow the path. Everything is told to you. But it is around 17 and 16 that rebellion first comes in. So who the heart desires is the story of love. So there are two couples in the film which are very different. One is a very quintessential Bollywood couple, the way you would look at it. A good-looking boy who's a little bit of a charming rogue who falls in love with a pretty girl who comes from outside.
Ali Fazal and
Giselle. And unki kahani us level pe conventional hai, but their problems are very real. One is scared of telling anything to his father. The other is just doing what her mother tells her to do. And that sort of leads to complications later. On the other side, you have the most unconventional part of the story, which in Bollywood I haven't seen or heard before, which is the geek in love with the girl who is, a firebrand. So he has this little crush on her, whatever. There's a chemistry. But this chemistry is Satyajit and Zoa. इनके बीच की जो लड़ाई हमेशा है, वो हमेशा आपको constantly दिखती है. They're constantly at loggerheads. But sometimes you realize that in all these moments, you find the best of friends. You find the best of moments, the best of lessons. And I really find that 17 has not been covered as an age in Indian cinema, frankly. Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar is one film that I really appreciate and remember. But post that, it's either college and post-college, or school becomes, Tare Zameen Par or that age group, which is much younger.
Right.
People leave this, but this is the youth. This is the internet generation. These are people who are born with the internet. And it is their trials, their tribulations, their life. So the core target group is the audience who says, this is me. But then there is a larger audience, which could even be you or me or people who are watching right now, who would say, yes, school ka wo final year was the best time of my life. And in Bombay and some cities, class 10th ke baad it becomes junior college. But I am talking of Delhi, where class 12th also meant a school uniform, where it meant having, the skirt had to be the right length and the tie must be up. But our kids are slightly rebellious and that's how we treat them. So I really feel the difference is the two issues we discuss, affairs of the heart, what it desires and who it desires. And the second is, it's a time capsule that takes you back to the best days of your life.
think your film has been making since 2009. It's been almost 2 years.
Right.
Okay. Now it's releasing finally, and we saw you at the music launch. You're totally into it, and you're very excited about it. We can see it very clearly. 3 days to go, 4 days to go. You've been saying.
Yeah,
that
my
as well.
God.
You're having 2-3 films releasing with you simultaneously. You're having a film like Bheja Fry 2, which the first part is a sleeper hit. People still talk about it. You're having a Bhindi Bazaar, which can be a surprise packet because it's looking interesting from the promos.
It is.
Does that worry you in any way whatsoever?
No, you know why it doesn't worry me is because people come to the cinema hall to see a good story. You know, they want to lose themselves for 2.5 hours or whatever time they spend. It's an expensive proposition. So the promotional strategies make a big difference. I do believe that we have Shahrukh with us in the promotions, which sort of makes it a slightly larger than life film from what it is.
Definitely.
That's one advantage. The second thing is, you know, I saw Shaitan a couple of days. I loved the movie. I thought it's really dark. And I called Bijoy and I told him, I said, Bijoy, you know, your film is so dark, it makes me search for the light within me.
I think it's a fantastic film, yeah.
And, you know, technically so brilliant. But that same audience which has seen a film that is dark at one level will come and see something which promises more light. Bheja Fry is, looks comical as a narrative to me. I love Vinay and KK, in fact, as characters. But I don't know why a person cannot go in the same week and see 2 films.
Tell us something that Shahrukh is there in Antenna. Where exactly does that song come?
Actually, no, I will tell you. I really know. It's right at the end.
Okay, in the end credit.
Shahrukh's Antenna comes as an end credit song. Antenna is actually a generation telling another generation, just get in tune with me. And that's how the film ends. So his comes in the closing credits, but there is one more just before that.
Okay, and apart from that, he's there in the film as well? In the beginning? Because in the promos he was.
No, see, the promos we used it as I said, he was more a promo ke liye sutradhar.
Right, right.
People are clapping for it also already. Thank you. I know it was a great strategy. Thank you.
Roshan Abbas, if you can briefly tell us something about your likes and dislikes in cinema in terms of names, say some of your 5 films of all time that you've really liked.
You know, in Bollywood, the movies that I have grown up on and I have loved, I have such a wide range. Sometimes you will get thrown saying, "Isko ye bhi pasand aata hai, isko ye bhi pasand aata hai." But I think that's the way we are.
Right.
Sholay will always be a favorite,
right.
Because I have watched many westerns which I think influenced it, but it's still such an Indian narrative, and the performances are out of this world, as it were. I used to love Gulzar Saab's films because, whether it was Kitab, whether it was Kinara, whether it was Khushbu, these films, because my father used to take us to see these movies when we were very young.
Sure.
Then I grew up a little bit more, and in between, a huge Bachchan fan. So therefore, Diwar was a film that I really liked just because of, just the performance. It's just surreal as far as performance.
Sure.
Last 2-3 years, Raju's film, I've actually been a big Vidhu Vinod Chopra fan from Parinda. I mean, Parinda was a brilliant movie. I even thought before that he did a movie, I always confused that it was Khamosh or Khamoshi.
I think it was Khamosh.
Because that was the murder mystery which had Amol Palekar and all these people.
I think it was Khamosh.
बहुत ही अलग film थी. And Vidhu ji, I loved his work at that point. Raju has taken over that mantle beautifully. I love the Munna Bhai series. I have really enjoyed Three Idiots as well. So I have a really diverse set of likes and dislikes. I like narratives that are a little more positive more often than not. Because I think that the world needs a lot of positivity. We've got 100 issues of our lives.
Sure.
Let's go out there and be a little more positive about it. That's one field that I definitely have. So, and in the West, there's a movie called Dead Poets Society, which is about a great teacher and students. I used to love Robin Williams when he used to do his offbeat films. Really enjoyed that. I have also enjoyed some really crazy mad Quentin Tarantino films or Guy Ritchie movies. But that's more for the style. I think that they brought so much style to cinema suddenly. But sometimes the debate within me is that, do you need so much style or should you concentrate on the performance?
Sure.
Should the frame be all about moving in and zooming in and cutting close and making an MTV out of cinema? Does it work? Maybe it does for some people. Do you need to sometimes hold? But this is the grammar that I think I'm discovering. So I feel that in my first film, मैंने उस grammar की ABC सीखी है, sentences बनाने सीखे हैं, उसको एक flowing narrative में over a period, because this is now what I want to do forever. So I'm just too hooked. My wife has now got to deal with this mistress. Okay, now
voice has been, I think your hallmark. In terms of baritone or voice of any of the, say, radio artists or Mr. Bachchan or any of the guys whose voice you have really liked, Nasiruddin Shah is there, Amrish Puri Saab's voice was very impressive. Whose voice do you?
I'll tell you, Bachchan Saab's voice is absolutely brilliant. I think whenever he has given a voiceover in a film, whether it was even Lagan, it just makes the film different.
It becomes a character in itself.
एक character बन जाता है अपने आप में. There was a voice which many of us have forgotten in between, Salim Ghaus.
हाँ,
सुबह. सुबह की में जो उसकी आवाज थी सलीम गौस की, मुझे वो आवाज आज तक याद आती है क्योंकि उसका एक टिम्बर था. और एक आवाज जो फेमिलियर है लेकिन यू ग्रो अप ऑन फॉर इयर्स इज अमीन साहब. Amin Saab is someone who was a radio doyen for me, I mean, icon for me.
Definitely.
And मैं उनसे जब भी मिलता हूँ, मुझे लगता है कि वो सारी पुरानी, जो सारी चीजें प्योर थी, अनटच थी, जिनमें एक सुरूर था, जिनमें एक एक रूमानियत थी, अगर आप कह सकते हैं. There was something, कोई चीज होती है which he has in him. There's an agelessness in his voice.
And a lot of positivity. Always. Consistently, yeah.
Not kabhi kabhi.
Consistently. Something about your childhood days, because I think you're from Lucknow, and you've told about the shairi aspect and all. I'm sure that Lucknow, as everyone knows, is a center of culture in India, and a very, very pronounced culture as such. So I'm sure that stories and poetry is part of it. I'm sure that must have had a huge impact on you, and you've studied in La Martiniere. That's quite a culture kind of thing.
No, it is. In fact, La Martiniere is a 150-year-old school,
sure.
And the film is shot in La Martiniere. So the 20 days we spent in Lucknow shooting was in the school itself, and it was, I mean, for my cinematographers, surprisingly, are also ex-students from the school.
Okay.
They were one batch junior to me.
Sure.
Ali Fazal, who I didn't know till that point, apparently also studied there for 8 years. So everybody said, "तुम ये school के लोगों को लेके picture बना रहे हो?" ऐसे नहीं, ऐसी बात नहीं है. But
back to school.
Back to school.
Back to La Martiniere.
But 150-year-old school, when I was there, meant that there was a lot of heritage. There was a lot of respect for tradition and heritage. Today's generation, exactly in conflict, want to break down every tradition, every heritage, because they want to develop their own. I see this is the issue that people are facing, grappling with. Parents. I mean, my parents say they can't understand.
You know, we know about your film.
No,
I want to know about your child.
No. So I'll give you an example. So when I was in Lucknow and all this was going on, grew up in the midst of shero shairi, listening to music, valuing things a lot, because in Lucknow you value aspects of culture. वहाँ का खाना भी वही है जो इतने सालों से था. वहाँ के कबाब हो या वहाँ की टुंडे कबाब, काकोरी कबाब हो, ये सब चीजें होती हैं. वहाँ की खीर, वहाँ की रात की जो चाय है, वो सब चीजें छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं, लेकिन उन छोटी चीजों में बहुत खुशी मिलती है.
सही बात.
बड़े होते होते मैं साइंस का स्टूडेंट था और मुझे मैं डॉक्टर बनना चाहता था. But suddenly theatre became a big attraction. I guess somewhere you can't hide the fact that my father's cultural upbringing or my mother's insistence on saying that you should have a holistic learning really helped. So I suddenly started debating and jamming and singing and doing dramatics, and all that sort of took over my life. But even now, Bollywood में या रेडियो में या टेलीविजन में आपको जब शोहरत मिलती है ना, तो सडनली आप बहुत जल्दी एक बड़े हाई ऑल्टीट्यूड पे पहुंच जाते हैं, जहां पर रेरिफाइड हवा की वजह से सर चढ़ जाता है लोगों का. So I sometimes feel that people, when they climb the ladder of success very fast, it goes to their head. Lucknow for me is the base that always brings me back to my ground reality. My parents still drive simple cars because they feel that that's more practical than having something which is, and I've told them at times saying, come, I'll buy you a really, really good car, I can afford to. But they don't. Keeps me grounded. When I go to school, I still have the same bun के ऊपर लगा हुआ कबाब which हम जाते हैं, मतलब
क्या बात है.
क्यों जाते हैं? क्योंकि वो उसका दाम अब हो गया है 5 रुपए. हमारे जमाने में 25 पैसे का होता था.
सही बात है.
बट उसका अभी भी एक कंसिस्टेंसी वही है. टेस्ट में वही है. और जब हम लोग शूट कर रहे थे, I'm not to pitch anything, but I just want to tell you, नहीं, it's not a pitch. That canteen person, वो हर रोज हमारे लिए खाना फ्री में लाते थे.
क्या बात है.
ये वहां की एक अपनाइयत है. ये उस शहर की एक अपनी एक कल्चर है, एक हेरिटेज है. आप जनाब से अभी भी बात होती है, तू तड़ाक इतनी नहीं होती है. और बॉम्बे अगर आई है तो फिर वो बात, मुझे सुष्मिता ने एक बार बोला था कि कोई हाथ भी ना मिलाएगा जो गले मिलोगे तपाक से. ये नए मिजाज का शहर है, जरा फासले से मिला करो.
बशीर बदर.
और ये जब उसने शेर
बशीर बदर, निज़ा फाजली,
आई एम नॉट टू श्योर. आई थिंक बहुत ही उम्दा शेर है. और मुझे लगता है कि ये इंडस्ट्री के बारे में बहुत सच बात है.
सही बात है.
पर लखनऊ में आप जाइए तो सबसे पहले आदमी गले मिलता है तपाक से. अभी भी मिलता है, हमेशा मिलता था. और वो इसलिए मेरे लिए, आई एम इवन गोइंग बैक for the premiere there, because I just felt that I owe it to the city.
You're having a premiere over there?
I'm having one of our sponsors has come on board to do a screening with youngsters in Lucknow, which is a premiere of sorts.
Sure.
But I just wanted
When is that?
On the 17th itself.
17th itself, okay.
So I just wanted to be with the people who formed my life, with the people who shared their narrative with me. Some of my friends who were in the play are going to land up as well. So it's really going to be a very exciting... I feel that is better than just having the whole industry present, because they will get to see it. If it works, they will
definitely. Roshan Abbas, what are your future plans after this?
I have 2 scripts right now, which I'm thrilled by both of them. One is a thriller, because as I said, there's a dark side to me also. That shaitan, it all appeals to that side of me very much. ये दिल्ली based एक thriller है, and I think it's a story that needs to be told. दिल्ली के urbanization में कहीं ना कहीं पर छोटा इंसान गायब होता जा रहा है, and उसके expressions are going to be very violent. So that's one narrative that I really want to tell. But it is a dark thriller in that sense. On the other side, I love the idea of telling stories. So I have a story about a storyteller, but which is slightly more of a family fantasy, something which everybody could go and see. It's an action. The second word after the action, I don't know whether I should call it an action comedy or an action drama, because it's about a child and a person who's with like a tutor or whatever, and all the stories they share. But it's a really fun narrative. In me lies the filmmaker who wants to make both of these. I guess the response to this film, because this is right in the middle.
Right.
ये ना fantasy है, ना ये ना तो always कभी कभी ठोस reality है, तो इसलिए ये हम heightened reality में हैं. इसके बाद का रास्ता, I'm at that Robert Frost point, 2 roads diverged and I took the one less traveled by.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out which is the one that I want to take next.
And producers, Shahrukh will produce?
Shahrukh in fact has said it on many occasions, saying that I hope Roshan doesn't need, I'd love to go back to him. The big narrative, I really think is something which, if in any sense I can say a thank you, would be a thank you, because it is something I really want to express my heartfelt gratitude for all that he has done. The other part of it obviously could be any youngsters who come on board. It requires one central character, but it's, as I say, a dark and dirty kind of film.
Roshan Abbas, if you can just wrap up by just saying any shade that comes to your mind, since we've been talking about that.
आपने अगर कहा है तो मैं आपको मुझे लखनऊ के बारे में एक शेर बहुत खूबसूरत लगता है.
बिल्कुल.
कहते हैं कि ये लखनऊ के जिसे शहर आरजू कहिए, ये लखनऊ के जिसे शहर आबरू कहिए, यही तो शहर है बाकों का और जियालों का, यही तो शहर है काफिर अदा गजालों का, ये लखनऊ जो मेरे ख्वाबों की हकीकत है, जो ये लखनऊ जो यकीनन जमीन पे जन्नत है.
क्या बात है,
और सचमुच मुझे लगता है कि that is sums up my hometown. So it is the biggest tribute that I could pay.
Fantastic. That was Roshan Abbas talking about his film, that is debut film as a director, Always Kabhi Kabhi. He's also spoken about various influences that he has had on his life, and he's spoken about Lucknow. He wanted to just talk about his film as well at the same time, but we make sure that we got the natural aspect of it. जो दिल से उनकी बात निकल के आए, and I think he said it. Lovely talking to you, Roshan Abbas, and
Thank you so much.
A very different sort of conversation that we've had. Because
it's not about the commerce, and it's not about the stars, it's about life, which is so much better.
No, in the sense, generally, the way we meet people from film industry, this was, I think, a different experience from that in that context. Thank you very much, and all the best wishes for your film and all your future ventures.
Thank you very much.
That's all we have from Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.